The volatility just hit the markets and Bitcoin dropped more than 16%, while we saw more than $1 billion in Bitcoin longs and shorts getting liquidated, more than 18% of the total interest leaving the market, and more importantly, Bitcoin is currently breaking its very important downtrend, and according to some various news sources, Elon Musk has sold more than $373 million worth of Bitcoin. So I will be exactly discuss this. What is currently happening for Bitcoin? Where is the next big support? The most important trend line we've been looking at has currently broken down, and I will be exactly talking about what is next for Bitcoin right now. Where are we standing in this cycle? And I will be exactly discuss this. So don't forget to slap up the like button on today's update video. So can we smash it back up at 500 likes? That will be absolutely incredible. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards the imminent short term for Bitcoin. So like you can see on the imminent short term, Bitcoin has seen an accelerated dump towards the downside, and right now it finally looks to be that we're finally starting to see that Bitcoin is cooling down here. And basically for the entire night while I was sleeping, this happens and Bitcoin dumped towards the downside, hitting a low of $26,000, and on some exchanges even hitting lows on $23,000 since this movement was so sharp towards the downside. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, we are massively oversold and we're starting to see a small little bounce on the RSI right now here. But looking at the open interest, we can currently see that more than $1 billion in Bitcoin longs and shorts got wrecked and got liquidated in the past 24 hours. And what is very interesting to see that if you're going to be looking at the open interest right now in the market, you can actually see that on this movement towards the downside, more than approximately 28% of the total open interest on Bitcoin got swept out in the market in the past, 8 days or so, or basically since this move towards the downside happened. So a lot of open interest got out of the market, and if you're going to be looking at where the open interest is currently standing at, it's all the way back at its same level of June 2023 here, so at this beginning point of the ETF hype. So due to the fact that the Bitcoin spot ETF was apparently coming, or that BlackRock was applying for a Bitcoin spot ETF, we saw massive inflows of people buying Bitcoin with leverage, and they right now all got flushed out in the market because we're right now below the level where the Bitcoin spot ETF hype started. So this is definitely a very important thing to be seeing here. But more importantly, if we're just looking at Bitcoin and if we want to be seeing what currently is going on here, we can first of all also see that on the 4 hourly time frame, we're actually hitting a low on the RSI never seen before in the last 7 years on Bitcoin. So be on high alert. The low that we're currently seeing on Bitcoin in terms of oversold has not seen in an approximately 7 years. So Bitcoin is right now definitely extremely oversold. Once these movements happen so very quickly towards the downside, they also give you a very good opportunity to be starting to be accumulating in the market again. But now let me go over the most important part of this video, and where are we going to be finding support for Bitcoin? So if you're zooming out on Bitcoin, you can clearly see that Bitcoin once again has been retesting that 25K region, right? 25K region has been previous. The $25,000 has previously acted as very strong resistance, also right here. But once we broke above it, this level, the $25,000, clearly acted as major support. So Bitcoin is right now back towards this level. And like I've said, once Bitcoin is going to be breaking below that support line right here, my price target is actually $25,000, but I was not really expecting that level was going to hit so quickly. So yeah, we saw Bitcoin moving down very sharply. And if you're zooming out also on the 3-day time frame, you can clearly see Bitcoin is right now trading at major support in this market. And if we can be holding on towards the $25,000, it's going to be absolutely crucial. But if we do break below that level, yeah, then we're actually going to start to see levels around $21,000 be potentially a fact for the next movement towards the downside. So currently a quick update on what I'm doing here with my trades. I mean, I got out on my Bitcoin trade, remain to be in my Ethereum position right now here with an approximately 30% loss. What is of course quite a significant loss that I'm currently making on my Ethereum trade, but I'm looking to be scaling up this trade here if Ethereum does really come down even more. My targets where I really want to be opening up more at is around $1,500. So that's another approximately $180 down here. So if I get the opportunity to see Ethereum even lower, I'm going to start adding more margin towards this trade. I already added even more margin here. So currently I'm at approximately $180,000 long on Ethereum. I just want to be adding more and more margin as prices going down here. But yeah, if you really want to be benefiting from accumulating Bitcoin on these lower prices, go to the link in the description of today's video where you can actually right now sign up an account on Bybit with a $30,000 deposit bonus. So if you're interested in buying and accumulating crypto, go to the link in the description of today's video where you can sign up an account right now here. So we do know volatility finally hit the markets, but it really happens that the volatility was towards the downside. So that is definitely very unfortunate. We did know a big move was brewing, but unfortunately it happens to be towards the downside. So yesterday also the news came out here that I tweeted about it as well here, that accordingly Elon Musk sold all its $373 million in Bitcoin. But be on high alert. This news came out after Bitcoin already forms its lows here. That is very interesting. So it was probably not the catalyst. So that is why I would say this news is not the catalyst of the movement towards the downside. And we have to really wait maybe a few more hours before Elon Musk is going to say something about it. And maybe the Bitcoin price action is going to be bouncing very quickly back towards the upside, since this news is not even confirmed. And even if they did sold, it wasn't likely to be today. And it was based on a previous report. So what we did saw today here is that the retail investors really freaked out here and sold off all their Bitcoins, will cause massive long liquidations and short liquidations across the entire market. So yesterday, what really happens due to the fact of the price drop was likely due to the fact of the unfavorable economic news in China and the bearish movement in the US stock market on high-risk assets. So now you know you've got once again a chance to accumulate Bitcoin cheaply. So please don't panic. And this is the time where you have to stick towards your strategy. And for me, it's the dollar cost average strategy. Bitcoin is once again cheaper. And yes, I once again see this as an opportunity, even though I'm highly aware that likely the bigger trend is going to shift around right now here. I think the bias for Bitcoin right now has to be shifted around here. You can currently see that maybe for Bitcoin, we're going to be starting to be looking at somewhat of this parallel channel right now in the market. We're going to be starting to maybe start Bitcoin accumulate between this region right here. I think this is very likely if Bitcoin is going to be remaining to be trading in this region, because if you compare Bitcoin towards its previous times around across an halving, usually before the halving it tends to go sideways. Of course, we had the pandemic crash with it, but I do definitely see that as a black swan event. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin was basically still bouncing between the highs of lows of $6,000 and $10,000 the entire time of that market. And maybe this time around it's going to be $25,000 towards $31,000. So yes, I do really still see the $25,000 as a major support level. And that is why I will still say here, this is a very good range for accumulation. And I don't really see this as a bad time for accumulating your Bitcoin positions at all. So further on, I can currently see this is not confirmed yet, so please don't judge me on this. But if the 3-day time frame is going to close somewhere like this, we could be starting to create a bullish divergence on the 3-day time frame, and that will be, of course, absolutely amazing to be seeing here. And if this really gets confirmed, you will be the first one to know on the channel, so make sure to stay subscribed here. And further on, if you're just really zooming out on Bitcoin on that 3-day time frame, we are currently hitting support. We already bounced from support, to be very clear. We did clearly broke the very important legendary support line towards the upside. We are probably going to see more bearish suppression towards the downside over the course of this time here, but be on high alert. I have said this several times before. In these times where we see, of course, a lot of panic hit the markets, think about how 2024 is going to be. And I've said it several times before, 2023 is the year of accumulation. But in 2024, the deadline for the Bitcoin spot ETFs is going to hit the markets. The US elections are going to happen. The interest rate cuts are going to happen definitely, since otherwise the US is going to default on their own debt. And more importantly, the Bitcoin halving as well coming up in 2024. So yes, everything that's happening right now here, you should take with a grain of salt here. It's fun that you see in the market. This is time to be accumulating. Maybe Bitcoin is going to come down to $15,000, but I don't care. I remain to be dollar cost averaging every single day in towards the market. I'm going to be buying more and more Bitcoin until Bitcoin breaks above $35,000, because then I don't think it's a fair valuation to be buying more Bitcoin. So right now, I remain to be believing that this is a good time for accumulation. So I'm personally doing that. It's no financial advice. It's just my own strategy. I remain to be buying more Bitcoin to prepare myself for the 2024 bull run. In these times where big moves towards the downside happen, you have to start to zoom out here. You have to know and understand the bigger perspective in this market. We do know that currently open interest has massively dropped top tier, what is giving you a good opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin once again here, since it's most certainly lower risk than the previous times and previous months before us. And more importantly, Bitcoin has never been so oversold on the 4 hourly time frame than ever before. So that was it for me on today's update video here. We have to wait a few more days or maybe a few more hours before this news is going to get confirmed about SpaceX and Elon Musk here. So maybe it's going to shift the market around very quickly again. And then we saw a massive short liquidation event that really got people out of the market, and then we could potentially we could start to spike very quickly. So things could change very quickly in crypto and Bitcoin. So make sure to pay attention. That was it for me in today's update video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.